Hello, Amber here today, and I have a tutorial to share with you for this Fruit Tingles shawl project. Essentially, garter stitch sections are worked, which are pretty straightforward, and then over 4 rows is this, I call it the Fruit Tingle, fizziness, or otherwise known as flowers in a row. It's quite simple, but it's probably easier to see demonstrated than figuring it out from the pattern, so I thought I'd make a little video to show you how to do that. To start on this little demonstration swatch, I've knit a few garter rows, so there's 6 garter rows there in the main colour that I use for the shawl, and I've started row 1 of the pattern, the Fruit Tingle Fizzy pattern, or flowers in a row, using the contrast colour. So row 1 is just knit across, and then I turn the work and on the wrong side. For the swatch I'm using a multiple of 6 stitches plus 1, so that there's a knit stitch on each edge. And to work this pattern I'll knit the first stitch. Then for the next 5 stitches I do the same thing. I insert the needle to knit and wrap the yarn 3 times and pull that through. So there's a triple loop for that stitch, which results in quite a long stitch, giving us that here. Repeat that 5 times, 1, 2, 3 wraps. That's stitch number 2. 1, 2, 3, stitch number 3. Stitch number 4, stitch number 5, and then I knit the next stitch. That's been worked over 5 stitches plus 1, and I knit that first stitch. So I'll repeat that process again and that's the end of row 2. Turn the work to work row 3, and in the pattern it suggests carrying the main colour, twisting it on row 3. So here's how I'll do that. I'll just pop that main colour over the top of the working yarn so that it's kind of trapped on the way up there, which will keep it neat. So bring that working yarn underneath. The first stitch is knit, and now we come to these loops. I take the first loop and drop the second 2 so that I have 1 long stitch. I repeat that 4 more times for the other 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I have those 5 long stitches on my needles, and I'm going to create a little wrap around the centre. Do that by bringing the yarn behind and in front, then pull the right needle out so that I can bring the yarn back over behind the work. Reinsert the needle, and you can see there's 1 little loop there in the centre of those stitches. I repeat that once more. Bring the working yarn over to the front. Take the needle out, the right needle out, so that the yarn can pass through between those stitches. Reinsert the needle and pull that tight. The yarn is now behind the work, and there's 2 little loops there. It can be a little bit fiddly at first, so for the shawl pattern, the first set of loops is not that many anyway, not that many stitches, so it can be fine to practice on that or do a little swatch. So now I slide all those stitches over onto the right needle and bring the yarn back to the front of the work, because I'll purl that single stitch that was knit on the previous row. Bring the yarn back around and repeat. So here we have 1 little fizzy flower. And repeat that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 long stitches. Insert that right needle. Bring the yarn to the front of the work. Take the needle out, bring the yarn over, through and to the back of the work. Tighten that loop and bring it back to the front of the work. Repeat that process. Reinsert the needle and then bring the yarn back one last time to work that purl stitch. So now we have 2. Very satisfying. And I'll repeat that one last time for this demonstration swatch. Sometimes that last one can be a little tangly. There we go. 5 stitches. Yarn is back behind the work, at the back of the work. Bring it round. Reinsert the needle, bring the yarn around again. And bring it back one last time to purl that last stitch. And so now there are 3. And I find kind of wriggle them a bit to get them, those little central loops in the right spot. Turn the work, and this is row 4, the final row of this little pattern. And we just simply knit across that row. Knit to the end of the row, turn the work, and there it is. And continue following the pattern. There's the little fizzy fruit tingles.